Welcome aboard the News Belt. Now, on to our first story. Dozens of soldiers, armed to the teeth, are returning to base after combing the Birim River and destroying the equipment of illegal miners whose activities are polluting that river. The soldiers burned shangfan machines, water pumps, and any other equipment that helped the illegal miners extract gold from the water body. As part of his response to the demands of organized labor, President Akufo-Addo yesterday directed the Minister for Defense to deploy additional military forces to intensify Operation Halt, which aims at curbing illegal mining activities. Maxwell Agbagba captured the moment the soldiers deployed surveillance drones before moving in to destroy the equipment. He reports that soldiers also used a naval boat to travel on the Birim River to reach and destroy some of the shangfan machines that enabled illegal miners to operate on the water.
In some minutes, the military is going to blow up that earth-moving machine that was being used to mine in this forest. And the access to lie down this way. And that is what they're going to use to blow up this machine. He's counting down 3, and then he'll blow it up. It's going to be so loud. Well, so that just happened.
Now you can go, feel free and go.
They just blew up that earth-moving machine. That's quite a complicated process. So that is the end result of the explosion that just happened here. And one of the soldiers tells me that there's nothing that can be done about this machine again. It can never be used again.
Okay, so let's come this way. Where is the table? Bring it here, pull it back. Come, let's go this way.
As you can see that the water is very, very, very heavily polluted. As a result of that, you can see the color of the water have changed drastically, and it's something that is very bad. If you look at the water, how they polluted it, the illegal miners polluted it, it's not good. Actually, the state of the waters are bad. Actually, it's bad. That's what I can say. And we are determined, we as a small-scale miners association, we are determined to help so that we can clean all of those who are doing the illegal mining in the water bodies. We want to flush them out so that the water will be safe for everybody to use in Ghana.
In all, we were able to destroy about 18 shangfans that were on the water bodies, and then about 10 machines, water pumping machines also on the water bodies. This is an effort to help bring back the color of our water bodies.
Part of the marching orders to the military on this Operation Halt campaign against illegal mining is to destroy every illegal mining equipment used in mining in water bodies and forest reserves. And that is exactly what personnel here on the ground are doing. All equipment belonging to the illegal miners have been completely destroyed. They poured fuel into them. You can see plumes of smoke now going up as they are bent completely, destroyed completely.
Now, our Greek Minister, Dr. Brian Echampong, has expressed the government's commitment in dealing with Galamsey. He has, however, maintained that community support is needed to deal with this challenge, as the government cannot do it alone. The Greek Minister has been speaking to George Riafe.
It frightens me. I mean, we cannot allow Galamsey to, if Galamsey continues, we wouldn't have water for irrigation because we will be affecting the final product, which is the crops that we consume. So it frightens me, and it's something that we have to find. We need to have a national dialogue on it. The issue is now elevated. It's an existential threat to all of us, our water, our food, okay, the livelihoods of the people in the community that are being ravaged by Galamsey. And it's something that we need to have a national dialogue about it and agree on what needs to be done. Because Galamsey is illegal. Now we're left with enforcement.
Yeah. And so the backstops with a senior minister like you in government to make the proposals and make sure that it is done, because it has implications on our food supply.
But I'm saying that everything that government is doing about Galamsey, when we say government, is you and I go in, or the soldiers go in, okay, if we spread the 34,000 soldiers in the country and you spread them throughout Ghana, 34,000 soldiers, they will not be able to even stop Galamsey in Ashanti region. You need the communal effort, okay? Not only the enforcement by central government. You need a mindset change by the people in the community, okay? That when you fight the people that are destroying your land, that are polluting your waters, and when you have backup, the security people come in. But if you just wait for central government, for the lack of a better word, to bring in police people or to bring in soldiers, they don't come and stay there. They come and perform an act and they leave. And the people are in the community. The soldiers are in, okay, let's stop. They go, we come back. But you need a community to take charge. You need the community, and it requires some level of understanding, education.
Welcome to our election headquarters now, and a group of lecturers from the University of Ghana who have declared their support for the NDC presidential candidate John Mahama want President Akufo-Addo to take decisive action against illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey. One of them, Professor Nanama Brown-Klucher, says the menace is destroying Ghana's water bodies and we may soon be forced to import water. The lecturers took to the streets of Accra to campaign for John Mahama. Now,
typically, most of us lecturers have contributed. Thankfully, most of us lecturers have contributed to the manifesto of the NDC. Thankfully, most of us lecturers have contributed to the manifesto of the NDC. So, learning from the classroom, learning from our environment, learning from the society, there are a lot that we have put in the manifesto of the NDC. So we hope that when the NDC comes to power, the right decision-making, the right policies will be implemented in the country. And some of us will ensure that the right things are done when the NDC comes to power. We've taken on the streets as lecturers because the country is going in the wrong direction and we want things changed to get to the right direction. As you can hear all over on the streets, and you zoo everywhere as they see us on the street. We believe that the change that we want is coming, and that's the change that we want. So we are campaigning to contribute to the change. We want to make sure that, as I said the last time, we leave no stone unturned. We want the vote to be very massive for John Dramani Mahama. We know how the issue of the small-scale mining or Galamsey is affecting our water bodies, is affecting our environment. We have put all of us in Ghana, our health is at risk.
Well, another lecturer at the University of Ghana and member of the NDC, Professor Kpesa White, says the government must demonstrate more commitment to the fight against illegal mining.
I think it should be on record that our campaign on the streets for NDC is also driven by our concerns about how this government's inaction as far as Galamsey is concerned. What future are we living for our children, their children? This is not how Kwame Nkrumah left this country. He left it in a better state. And we have a responsibility as Ghanaians to leave it much, much better for the generations yet unborn. We live in a country where government officials can afford the luxury of going for medical care abroad and leave the rest of us to basically wallow in the hospitals that they have run down. And so we think that it is not enough to be confined to the classrooms and the labs teaching students. It is important that we get into the general Ghanaian public and let them understand that we go to the same markets, we buy from the same shops, we go to the same filling stations, and that we are feeling the pinch as much as they are feeling it, and that they should join hands with all of us to get this government out and make sure that we bring a government that, at least we have seen from experience, has been much, much more better in terms of delivering development to Ghanaians, bringing infrastructure, and ensuring that we have a much better economic growth as far as this country is concerned.
Now, a former Deputy Upper West Regional Minister, Abu Kabibata Kansangbabata, has asserted that the 2024 general elections are not only about the NDC, but a vote to rescue and salvage the country from the misrule and corruption of the new Patriotic Party. Abu Kabibata, who is also an aide to the NDC's vice presidential candidate, Professor Jane Nano Opoku-Agyeman, opined that the behavior of the Electoral Commission was questionable and did not show transparency in the electoral processes, and had therefore called on well-meaning Ghanaians to come out in their numbers to give the NDC a resounding victory. He made the call at the launch of the party's campaign in the Dafiama-Busie-Issa constituency. Joy News' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam now reports.
The Dafiama-Busie-Issa constituency is one of many constituencies that the new Patriotic Party in the Upper West region has their eyes on, but has never laid hands on it. The closest they came to winning was in 2008 when Matthias Asumapoza defeated lawyer Ekodesa by 113 votes. Since then, it has been smooth sailing for the NDC as they added a hat-trick of parliamentary victories, the latest coming in the 2020 polls. The dominance of the NDC in the constituency appears to be simmering down due to perceived disunity in the party following the party's parliamentary primary. Former Deputy Upper West Regional Minister Abu Kabibata Kansangbabata pitched his strength against incumbent Member of Parliament Dr. Sebastian Sandare and lost by a handful of votes, who thus appears to create a wedge in the party. Abu Kabibata Kansangbabata, at the launch of the party's campaign at Fiang, debunked the notion, stating that the party is unshakable.
Our party now in DBI is unshakable. It's unshakable. The unity is strong. You could see every single person that matters in DBI NDC politics is present here. And we are not here just to show our face, but we are here to commit ourselves, commit our resources, dedicate our time and every single thing to ensure that we retain the seat. So NDC DBI, I can assure the media fraternity that is now more united and more solid, and we are poised for victory, no shaking.
He urged all well-meaning Ghanaians to come out in their numbers to vote against the MPP to salvage the country from their misrule and unbridled corruption.
The behavior and attitude of the Electoral Commission and MPP should be a challenge and worry to every single NDC supporter. Why we should work assiduously to win convincingly, to win parliamentary seat convincingly, because their attitude and posturing behavior towards this election doesn't show clear transparency in the processes. So what we need to do as a political party is to win convincingly. So I'm urging every single supporter of NDC, party member, professional, market women, that this is an election that NDC cannot afford to lose. But we need to salvage the image of the unborn generation.
Member of Parliament for Upper West, Superintendent retired Peter Lenchene Tubu, had Tatman Sat on his mind and recalled the commitment of former President John Dramani Mahama to revisit the killings that occurred in the 2020 polls.
There is no soldier worth his salt who will do what happened in Tetchman South in 2020. Yes. And I am waiting for the opportunity to reinvestigate that matter, as stated clearly by President John Dramani Mahama. From 2025, when the NDC is in power, the Tetchman South killing will be reinvestigated and the culprits will be brought to book.
Dr. Sebastian Sandare, who is seeking re-election, spoke among other things the development that he has brought to the constituency.
NDC.
The seat is for NDC. It is not for Dr. Sandare. It is for NDC Dafiama-Busie-Issa. Since it is for all of us, what we need to do is to work to keep it forever. Reporting for Dre News, Rafik Salam, Fian.
That's it for our election headquarters. But on to our next story, as the Ministry of Local Government has launched the Urban Complementary Livelihood and Asset Support Scheme under the Ghana Productive Safety Net Project Phase 2. The scheme, launched in Bolgatanga in the Upper East region, aims at providing financial assistance and training to the most vulnerable populations, empowering them to break the cycle of poverty. Correspondent Albert Sori now reports.
The Urban Complementary Livelihood and Asset Support Scheme, also known as Urban Class, is a social protection initiative and an extension of the Ghana Productive Safety Net Project Phase 1. It is being implemented by the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development and the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection with funding from the World Bank. The project, which is expected to end in 2025, aims to provide access to productive income-generating opportunities for the poor living in the urban areas of Ghana. In a speech read on his behalf, the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Martin Ejay Mensah Kosa, said the launch of the Urban Complementary Livelihood and Asset Support Scheme demonstrates the government's commitment to the agenda for jobs creation and leaving no one behind.
This gathering further demonstrates government's commitment to broadening and enhancing social safety nets, ultimately uplifting impoverished communities across Ghana and addressing urban poverty.
The Ghana Productive Safety Net Project Phase 2 program, which will benefit about 10,000 vulnerable urban and peri-urban people, was designed to address poverty due to the severe challenges in those areas. Professor Prosper Larry is the national coordinator for the project.
We realized at COVID that it was not enough to just think that the poor are in the rural areas to the neglect of the peri-urban and urban areas. So today, we came to look at the urban model, where we'll be extending some support to municipal and urban areas, close to 50,000 beneficiaries, having done close to 60,000 beneficiaries for the rural. It is our expectation that these poor and vulnerable people, largely drawn from LEAP households, will be giving complementary support for them to start income-generating activities that will help them to smoothen consumption.
A productive inclusion specialist with the Ghana Productive Safety Net Project, Desmond Duametu, said the Urban Complementary Livelihood and Asset Support Scheme offers training and resources to extremely poor households to establish sustainable income-generating activities.
We normally would train you after you have gone through the skills training, then we give you a startup grant, which is up to the tune of $300. $300 is the equivalent. It's in CD term now. We are going to give you that money as a startup grant, and it's an individual grant. And for these poor beneficiaries, that's a lot of money, a lot of injectment into their businesses.
Upper East Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz Ben Sali urged the municipal and district assemblies to ensure a successful implementation of the scheme.
Urban families, like their rural counterparts, deserve opportunities to build skills, increase their incomes, and secure sustainable livelihoods. We are confident that this initiative will have a transformative impact on thousands of urban households in the region and beyond.
For Joy News, Albert Sori, Bolgatanga.
Now, the Central Regional Education Directorate is calling on parents and stakeholders to collaborate in improving educational outcomes in the region. According to the directorate, it is time for the Central Region to reclaim its position as a leader in education in Ghana. Speaking at the second edition of the Koika Science and Math Quiz Competition, Deputy Regional Education Director Harriet Odra Aidan Sego highlighted the need for additional interventions to drive educational improvement. There's more in this report.
The second edition of the quiz competition assembled schools in 5 districts who competed in STEM-related topics. Central Regional STEM Coordinator Richard Atapenyin explains the motive behind the competition.
The chemistry tutors who supervise the practicals told me a district like KEA performed excellently. They could understand the question, they could understand the concept, and they did everything that is expected of them. So they scored a very high mark of 23 points. Another district too, like Aguna East and Gomwa East, they understood all right. They did part, but they couldn't finish it up. Maybe it is due to lack of enough preparation. Maybe they didn't have time to prepare well for the practicals. So this presupposes that we must enforce the practical lessons in the various schools, because Koika, through that intervention, has given all the school that is labeled Koika schools practical equipment for them to practice in the classroom or in the lab.
Deputy Regional Education Director Harriet Odra Aidan Sego believes the interventions being put in place should make the region reclaim its top spot as the citadel of education in the country, and called on stakeholders in education to support the drive.
Parents. A lot of us parents are not being responsible now. I don't know whether it is this fancy tradition of the children belong to their mother's family, so the fathers are relaxing and the women are burdened, so it's like my bread, they get tired and then they are not up and coming. Because if you look at, even in Cape Coast, the attitude we show when it comes to education it needs much to be desired. So I think that with the education we are doing, I know that just the past Fashion Festival, the Cape Coast Development Youth Association or something has also put something in place. So they even did quizzes and a symposium to help the students. And we are hoping that all these interventions we are making will take us back to where we were. And especially for the basic school students to be able to come into our secondary schools. Well, it looks as if now we have the schools, but other people are making use of it. So that's our hope. And we know that with the interventions we are making, everything will be fine.
Now, schools in the UNFPA implementing districts in the Central Region have been supported to present projects aimed at reducing sexual and gender-based violence among students. According to the Adolescent Health Unit in the Central Region, they're assisting the students to develop solutions to what affects them is the best way to deal with sexual and gender-based violence in schools. 3 schools were selected for the best presentations and awarded 3,000 Ghana cedis each to help implement their projects. There's more in this report.
Speaking after the competition that saw 3 schools emerging as standouts, Central Regional Adolescent Health Coordinator Emma Delali Foley indicated the initiative was simply to offer the students the platform to embark on a project that will help bring out solutions.
It's important because adolescent health also based on the pillar that the adolescents themselves should be involved when it comes to implementing interventions for adolescents. So this is a step in the right direction to involve the adolescents themselves to come out with interventions that will work for them. And that's how come we are involved the adolescents, basically the schools, because they are in a confined area where interventions can actually be implemented. So when it comes to sexual and gender-based violence, Ghana Health Service has stakeholders or collaborators that we work with, like govt, like Ghana Education Service, like Department of Social Welfare. And so we are leading the pace for the intervention to be implemented, supported by UNFPA. However, whatever happens in the school, if a case is recorded, then govt needs to be involved through the district or municipal education office. So it's not just Ghana Health Service, but all collaborators that has that work in the area of sexual and gender-based violence are brought on board.
The students came along with their teachers and school nurses and did a presentation with 3 judges assigned to rate the presentation. The teachers and school nurses have been sharing their thoughts with Joy News.
So per our point, we said we are going to give education to all students, and we gave out dates, and we invite a resource personnel. Afterwards, we will give counseling to the survivors. We don't call them victims again, we call them survivors. Then we will train ambassadors, some of the students as ambassadors, to help create the awareness and then to effect change. Then we'll make a box of hope that survivors or victims can write their concerns and drop it in it, so that we will trace them and then give them the needed help.
The message we are sending back to our school community is that gender-based violence cannot be condoned. It cannot and must not also be swept under the carpet. At the moment, we have some victims who have been named, shamed, and maybe jailed. So going forward, my school community should be aware of whatever is involved, so that possibly they will stay away from it.
Ifutu Secondary Technical School, Obriabua Senior High School, and Potin T.I. Amedia School from the Gomoa East District emerged champions.
Time now for our business updates. In our first story, economist Professor Lord Mensah is raising some concerns about government's decision to offer interest-free loans to some farmers hit by the recent dry spell. The Agric Minister yesterday started offering interest-free loans to some commercial farmers hit badly by the dry spell. But Professor Mensah says this could come with some challenges for participating banks.
Yeah, so if you look at our economic structure, I mean, there's no free money anywhere, whether you are sourcing the money internally or you are sourcing the money externally, unless you are getting the money from, I mean, the Islamic, banking sector elsewhere. That will account for, I mean, interest-free. But even that one, they may want to know the possible cash flows of, these farmers, so that there could be some kind of, profit sharing. But, can you vouch on the kind of farmers we have to extend loan facility to them so you can expect something back into the state? I don't think so. So from where I sit, I think, it has to do with, doling money out to the farmers, so that they can cushion themselves in times of drought like this. Yeah, obviously, it is expected. Once, government takes money from the banks and pass it on to the farmers, and no returns are expected, obviously, and there's no price on the money, obviously, you should expect that it will affect the balance sheet of the bank. Because it's more or less, giving loans, which at the end of the day, you won't get it, back. Even if you are going to get it back, it will come with, some kind of depreciation or some kind of distortions as far as the economy is concerned. So from where I sit, I think this is just money, government money to the people, to the farmers.
To wrap for our business updates, and of course, that's how we're capping off the AM News this morning. But you want to stay with us for the news review. Executive Secretary of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrahima, joins me for a conversation. We'll be right back.